name's Jaylene Pfeifer. I'm a kinesiologist and a yoga teacher. I'm here today to invite you into a 30-minute, very accessible beginner yoga class. I'm going to be inviting you into really being in your body first and foremost. This is a big part of a yoga practice, is starting to quiet down a little bit and really learn and practice how do we really honor and listen to our bodies. So I offer a very slow invitation, many possibilities, but in the end, it all comes down to you trusting and just moving into your body where it feels just right. That will take a little bit of practice, but it's always there. So if you start feeling any sort of strain or pain, or you're holding your breath, really invite you to pay attention and maybe back off a little bit. So remember, listen to your body. I want you to find a block and a strap, okay? If you don't have a strap, you could maybe use a housecoat tie. And in this first beginning series, if you're feeling getting down to the ground and sitting isn't working for you, you're gonna find yourself sitting on a chair, okay? So get yourself comfortable in whatever seated position works for you. I personally like to sit on a block and just get your ankles underneath your knees, okay? Again, if you're not used to this position, it might be better if you get yourself comfort or supported on a chair. So we're going to start just by being invited to possibly close the eyes and begin to bring your attention into the space around you. So really, we're actually just letting attention go free. So just let your attention wander the space that you're in and bring in any sounds. As your attention is invited a little bit closer towards your body, noticing smells, the taste in your mouth, colors and forms behind your eyes. Just noticing the temperature of the air on your skin. So there's no right or wrong way to do the practice. You're just being invited to first be in your body, notice and welcome all that's going on around you. And before we start really doing any breath work, just noticing the breath. So take one hand to your belly, one hand to your diaphragm, and just begin to notice the breath. Don't change anything. You'll be able to feel the expansion as your belly rises, kind of presses out into your lower hand. That expansion will come up. As you exhale, feel your seat dropping down as you get a little bit more spacious into your upper body. So always just feeling that gentle, easeful movement of the breath. We're going to start with a really subtle twist. So you're going to take your palms together, take your middle finger just to your chin, find ease in your shoulders, and just begin to find a bit of rotation to one side. And just notice, do you start really trying to do it hard, okay? This isn't something you're being forceful with. You're just finding the edge, noticing the breath. Head isn't doing all the work. The engine of the twist is in here, and then just come back to center. Find your seat dropping down into your pelvis, dropping down into your support beneath you, and then just twist to the other side. Don't try so hard. Just wakening the body with a bit of a twist. Slowly coming back to center. So find your rhythm. Go into possibility for your twist. Find your breath. Relax your shoulders. Relax the front of your hips. Don't just turn your head. The reason why you have your fingers on your chin is so that you don't over-rotate through the head and neck. Come back to center. Twist to the other side. Slowly release. And release the hands. Take one hand to your side of your head. Release the other hand. Draw your elbow back and just tip over to a side bend. So just watching and feeling that you're not moving into too much side bend. Should just feel right. Your pelvis isn't lifting off of your seat beneath you. Feel your breath into those ribs that are opening. Don't lean into this hand. So again, you could be in your chair. Ultimately, you might even just be resting your hand. Come back up. Take the other hand to the side of your head and slowly go into a side bend. No tension in the head or neck. Let the breath open into those ribs. Come back. And one more time into the twist. And just notice what's opening up. Fingertips to your chin. Rotate to one side. See where you can go. You can probably get a little bit more twist without being forceful. Just remain curious. This is the art of yoga. This inner listening. Meeting your curiosity with ease. Find ease in your body. Your body will give you back more ease. So find where you can go, rotating one side and then the other. One more time, each side. Once you get to where you can go, take a pause. Find the breath, feel it. You're looking for it, but it's always there. The reason why we stay looking for it is to be very present in the body. Last time, twist. And then release. And just roll your shoulders out. So, you're going to make your way up into standing, whether you were sitting in a chair or sitting on the ground. Just going to widen your stance just a little bit. So your feet are just a little bit wider than your hips. And you're just going to wake up the lower body from sitting. So just shifting your weight back and forth. And then you're just going to start doing little I call them figure eights. So it's like you're drawing figure eights over your feet. And then your arms will start to move. And so this really invites you into feeling your feet on the ground, gets your pelvis and hips moving. It even starts moving your shoulders and bringing your spine into a little bit of a twist. Okay, really feel your feet on the floor. Take a pause and see if you can go the other way. So just rolling through the hips and pelvis. Okay, as you settle back into stillness, bring your feet a bit closer together. So there is a pose in yoga. I talk about it being the most important yoga pose, okay? It is called mountain pose. It translates in Sanskrit as Tadasana. So the reason why I find it so important is it really invites you to be in your body in a very conscious way, upright. This is where we're interacting with ourselves and the rest of the world. So practice being here, feeling your support beneath you, noticing your breath. The more you can find this pose in an effortless way, your yoga practice really starts to find you off your mat. The practice here is that there's nothing to do. So embrace that. Feel your alignment. Make sure your toes are pointing forward. So you don't want to be standing out like this. It's going to feel a bit awkward. Just make sure it feels right. There's nothing has to be perfect here. Just try to get those toes pointing forward, hip distance apart. Your knees are not locking back. If you can, on your arms at your side, lift all 10 toes off the ground here. So this is really going to drop you back into your heels a lot. As you let your toes come back to the floor, hopefully you're doing this in bare feet, and I just want you to start gripping the mat with your toes. Grip the mat with your toes. Then, be quiet with your toes. Feel into your heels. Come back to hands to the torso and just notice the breath. Inviting the inhale to begin at your belly. Feel that expansion rise up the torso without the shoulders lifting. Notice your breath. So we're going to start with a balance pose here. You're going to take your hands to your heart, and you're going to slowly find a focus point with your eyes, okay? This is called the drishti in a yoga practice. So find a focus point, really make a commitment. So you start focusing so much with your eyes that you can still see everything going on around you, but it might become a bit blurry. So you're going to shift your weight. It doesn't matter which side you go into. Just shift your weight into one side and lift the other foot off the floor. So when you first start practicing balance, and every day is brand new anyways, this might be your practice. If you want to take this a little bit further, begin to move the leg bone in the hip socket. So we practice those figure eights. Now you're going to draw them with your moving knee. And this is actually translates as movement into your hip joint. Feel from the ground up, right back into your heel, and then open into what's called vrikshasana, tree pose. So in tree pose, you can let your arms start to become part of your form here. Because there's no right or wrong, and there's a freedom to this practice, just come back to the breath, back to feeling from the ground up. How can you be here with just a little less effort? And then slowly come back into mountain pose. Your hands can stay at your heart, they can be on your torso, or at your side with your palms open. Your eyes can be open or closed, but use Tadasana to be invited back into your body and your breath. Feel the ground beneath you, the difference in the body from one side to the other, and prepare for your other side, which will be different. One side will be stronger, and my invitation is to not try to figure it out. Embrace it. Find your focus point with your eyes, find your weight shifting, and just balance. You might even be using your chair. There's no right or wrong. Feel your breath. So possibilities here. Staying here or bringing some movement in. Moving. Leg bone and hip socket. Find what feels right. In vrikshasana, tree pose. No right or wrong. The arms are like branches for your tree. Feel your breath. Hearing those nice, long exhalations. Little wavering, that's the practice. Your rooting system from your waist down. Feel back into your mountain pose. Okay, Tadasana. I'm just going to move this chair. So we're going to just try a couple poses here and then make our way back down onto the ground. So you might want to have a block here. So from You could go to the front of your mat, but from mountain pose, you're gonna step your one leg back, doesn't matter which side you're doing first here, okay? So you're gonna see that I have a little bit of space between my feet, okay? When you step back, again, this is why mountain pose is so important, your hips crests are like headlights. They're gonna stay facing forward. You don't wanna step back and open, okay? You wanna keep your pelvis neutral and just step back to what feels right. So the further you step back, the more you're going to feel the possibilities of a stretch, but this back heel needs to root. And you can again see my hip crests, my headlights are facing forward, and my front knee starts to bend. This is the preparation moving into what's called warrior one. So this is gonna create an opportunity to find balance and release because we're moving our extremities away from our center. So feel into your body building balance and stability, okay? And then if it feels right, you can come into a cactus arm. So the first piece of this is not trying to create a visual form. It's about what feels right for you and exploring the version that works. So find the version. Maybe it's here. Maybe the arms release. But what starts to grip? Does your breath start shortening? Find the version. Okay, so warrior one, so you take your hands back to your pelvis, you're gonna straighten out the front leg, squeeze through the inner thighs, and just fold forward a little bit. So this is what it looks like. This is called pyramid pose. So we're staying with our feet aligned and just feeling into all the possibilities. The knees aren't locking out. The legs are very energized. Feel your inhale. Exhale, push back into your feet. Come back up. Step forward. And there it is again. Tadasana. Right? Mountain pose. You've just done 2 poses on one side. I invite you to feel that. Nice long exhalations. From mountain pose, step the other foot back. Bend through your front knee. So your back heel is going to root. Your front knee is going to bend. Feel your breath. So again, just finding, feeling into possibilities here. Shoulders stacked over your hips. Adjust as needed, and then maybe your arms release into a cactus arm or complete release. If they're going right over your head, just pay attention your shoulders aren't reaching up towards your ears. Find ease, breath. This is called warrior one. Hands back to your pelvis. Straighten out your front leg. Squeeze through the inner thighs. Just find your feet on the ground. Knees aren't locked out. Just a little fold forward. So don't round out the spine. Don't let your nose get ahead of your heart. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice your breath. This is called pyramid pose. One more inhale. Exhale, press into your feet, come back up. Step forward. Mountain pose. Eyes open or closed. Get right back into your heels. Settle into your breath. So for the last piece of the practice, we're going to come back down to the ground. Okay? So whatever way that works for you, I want you to find your way down onto your spine. Have your block and your strap nearby. And lie down onto your back with the top of your head near the top of your mat. Having your block and strap nearby, bend your knees, feel your feet come to the ground. And just settle into whatever feels right. If you need a little support under your head, you can always fold the top of your mat. And just notice the breath. The feet, the knees, the hips, and the shoulders are all lined up. You're going to take your block in between your thighs. And feel your inner thighs gently squeezing the block and then releasing. So as you squeeze the block, notice that your shoulders don't grab, your breath doesn't get held, and then release. So do this a couple more times. Gently squeeze the block with the inner thighs, and now you're going to push into your feet and lift your bum off the ground. So this brings you into a little bit of an inversion. Feel your inversion, feel your breath. Try to push into your feet, lift the pelvis. If it feels right, you can even press into the back of your arms and just find what's called a little bit of an inversion. It's little bridge. So your pelvis is now above your heart. So your feet are pushing into the floor. Inner thighs are squeezing the block. If you need to take a break, you would just release your pelvis back down to the ground. One other piece to this, when you're practicing this, make sure you're looking up towards the ceiling. Okay, one more time. Squeeze the block with the inner thighs, push the feet into the floor, and slowly lift the pelvis off the ground. Push into the back of the arms, and no tension in the head, the neck. So you're definitely using your glutes, but you're also using your inner thighs. Your feet are pushing into the floor. Find where you can be with your breath, and then slowly release back down to the ground. Okay, and then just remove the block. Come back to just feeling your complete body on the mat. Feet, knees, hips, and shoulders all lined up. Notice and feel the exhalation. Okay, one last piece here. You're going to take either your strap or your house coat tie, and just make sure that it's not hooked up if you do have a strap. You're going to place the ball of the right foot into the middle of the strap. So ball of the foot, not the instep. You can wrap the two ends of the strap that are coming down the leg around your hands and really just work at flexing that heel. We're going to feel most likely some big sensation through the back of the right leg, calf, hamstring. If it feels right, no pain or strain, you can let the left leg go straight, relax your shoulders. Feel into the right hip, and you're just working into where you can draw the right leg and move at your hip joint. So it's not just about the hamstring stretch, it's about moving at your right hip. So settle into whatever feels right. If you're down here, welcome that. Just watch your knees and completely bent, because then you're not going to get all the release, possible release into your hamstring, calf, as much as possible. Long exhalations. 2 more long breaths. As you feel your exhale, your belly sinks. You might be able to draw the right leg in a little bit more, as long as you don't feel any your shoulders gripping. Relax your jaw. Okay, slowly release the strap off the right foot. Come back to constructive rest pose. Take 1 full breath. Just feel. And then bring the left ball of the foot into the strap. Feel this first. So make sure you're at the ball of the foot, not the instep. Flex the heel as much as you can. Notice what happens in the upper body. Find ease there. Maybe release the right leg. Okay, there's no right or wrong. It has to just feel right. And this could be your journey for a while. Just listening to your body and knowing what works. Find your breath. Nothing to do but just feel the expansion of the inhale. As you exhale, the belly sinks. You might be able to draw that left leg in a little bit more as you straighten out the knee. Flex through the heel, find ease in the shoulders. right or wrong. Okay, slowly release. Coming back to constructive rest pose. This might be how you take Shavasana, okay, with your knees bent and your feet on the floor. But I am going to invite you to explore. So you're going to draw your arms slightly away from your body, turn your palms up, and just see what it feels like to release your feet out to the bottom corners of your mat. You might even roll your hips in and out a few times. And if it feels okay for you just to be completely laid flat out for Shavasana, that is an option. Or you can keep your knees bent and your feet on the ground. Just notice what feels right for your body in this moment. So we come back to being still. So feel free to close the eyes or keep them open. Whatever feels right for you in this moment. At the end of a yoga practice, we're really being invited into the results of our practice. So the different forms, the different asanas, poses that you've explored have released stress and tension from the body. And now you really get to feel the space that has been created. So in Shavasana, there is nothing to do. There is nowhere to go. Be invited to feel all of that. No right or wrong. Every exhalation luring you back to yourself. Letting go of any form of doing and just nourishing this ground of being. This ever-present peace and stillness. Feel it here. Going all the way to the end of the exhalation. Coming into this inner knowing that this is a part of you, no matter your circumstance. Feel it here. Be curious. It will draw you back to your mat over and over again. Thanks for joining me. I really invite you to stay in your Shavasana pose for as long as it feels right. Namaste.